Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And you should concern yourself with this watch. Today we're discussing a 2022 launch that was made in quantity of 20 movements. We'll explain that in just a moment. You're looking at the Ferdinand Berthoud FB2RSM. So, of course, the movement is the highlight of this watch, but at Ferdinand Berthoud, the FB series refers to the case, not necessarily the movement or the model. So FB1 is the original lugless octagon. FB2 is this, a more traditional round lugged case. So this watch came out in 2022, and there were several different variants, several different dials, several different case metals, and of course you had the choice between lugged and lugless cases, meaning though 20 movements were made, there are far fewer of any individual variant of this watch than the bare 20 movement number suggests. So the watch is large but not huge, 44 millimeters in diameter, 14.6 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 51.4 millimeters in yellow gold. It's 22 millimeters between the lugs. You can see that the strap features a little bit of a countersink into the flank of the watch that creates a much more integrated look. There's no daylight showing, and there's no impediment to the motion of the strap. Taking a look at the buckle, you can see it's large and it's Ferdinand Berthoud branded, but it's fairly simple, matching yellow gold. The only feature that I want to shout out is the fact that it does have what I call an elevated bridge, where you could see the anchors on each side, but then the bridge is elevated above them, so the strap can move in just like a garage, so it doesn't stack up, it stays relatively thin on the wrist. The strap is incredibly grand. As you can see, large rectangular symmetrical scale alligator leather, always indicative of the finest cut of the animal and very expensive. Semi-gloss finish here, dark brown, but look in profile. It's actually two folded edge straps that have been stitched together, so it's alligator on both sides. Very expensive, very durable, likely to last years, and very laborious strap to create, albeit for a watch that is absolutely worth every penny invested. The strap is impressive, the case even more so. As you can see, it features a remarkable amount of external hardware, polish and satin, both a concave bezel, a dramatically domed and cambered crystal, almost like a bubble, the FB logo on a knurled crown. And even, you can see with all this hardware attaching the external components, it's got the look of a vintage marine chronometer clock built up for use on deck. And that is the inspiration for this watch. We'll go a little bit deeper in a moment, but I want to show you, let's get a little bit closer to my light source here, that you have a lateral viewport allowing you to see the chain, the fusee chain, barrel, fusee, and chain, and those innumerable little links in this tiny chain. Really, the reason this movement has an astonishing 1,169 parts. So, of course, Ferdinand Berthoud is long dead, and the brand was long defunct. A famous 18th century constructor of precision chronometers and marine navigation clocks. His name was resurrected by Carl Friedrich Schäufele, the owner and chief of Chopard. So if you can think of Chopard and then Louis-Ulysse Chopard, somewhat above that, LUC series, and then above that, Ferdinand Berthoud. And you can see on the dial, it is a chronometer, and the company is now based out of Val de Travers in Switzerland. This watch is exhaustively detailed and engineered. Let's start with the basics. The dial. This is not number 8. That number 8 refers to the marine navigation clock number 8 created by the namesake right around 1768 in Paris. So you have number 8, like the rest of the text, freehand engraved onto this solid gold dial, and then a very subtle sort of figure 8 design for the aperture, revealing the deadbeat second mechanism. We're going to stick with this for a moment, stay on the dial side. So you've got this media blasted, and then if you get very close, you can see also micro beveled solid gold dial with freehand engraving, and it actually forms the basis for the bridge supporting the minute display. You've got a regulator dial, so we have deadbeat seconds, minutes, and then a sapphire disc with scrolling hours that sits on top of a white backing plate, so you can see the silhouetted hours scrolling by. The hand for the hours, the hand for the minutes, those are both gold, but this is a blackened titanium hand for the deadbeat. In order to make it as large and arcing as it is, cover the whole dial, and use as little energy as possible. That one hand is made of titanium. Now we have a deadbeat second mechanism, and the way this works is you have the center wheel, which is anchored, as you can see, get very close, by a tiny little pinion with a hook that is forever climbing one while driven by another. And that little hook slips once per second to enable the deadbeat mechanism. And so the idea here is that because Ferdinand Berthoud back in his day took on many apprentices, training the next generation, Ferdinand Berthoud, the company, engaged with an advanced student at the University of Neuchâtel, and essentially his senior thesis or his graduation project was to conduct vast research and development to develop a deadbeat second mechanism that would allow this watch to retain its chronometer status, as these systems are rarely compatible with high-end chronometry. They cause ebbs and flows of torque, and they really need their own separate train structure to avoid affecting the timing. And this watch is a chronometer, COSC certified, and you get the extended timing card when you buy the watch, which shows that not only did this watch get the certification, but it blew past the bare minimum standards. You can also take a look at this dial, engraved, beveled, and then media blasted. Take a look at this little bridge. You can see that its surfaces are media blasted and then its edges are beveled. This dial, by my count, contains at least 13 sharp interior angles where bevels meet in sharp creases. When people ask me who has the best finishing in the business, I usually name about 5 companies that I consider to be peers in quality but distinct in style. If you force me to really narrow it down to 2 or 3, Ferdinand Berthoud, the reconstituted version of the company, would be in those elite cadre company. Taking a look at the back, you can sort of see why. Now, this is the core of the movement that won the GPHG Aiguille d'Or back in 2016, essentially best pictures at the Oscars of watchmaking. The unique elements here are the regulator display, the deadbeat, and the open dial, as well as the movement of the power reserve indicator to the case back. Despite the power reserve being under siege from the energy-intensive deadbeat, it's still a 53-hour manual wind. The tourbillon is enormous. It's a 3 Hertz free-sprung balance with a Phillips terminal curve. That's a type of overcoil designed to ensure that in every position the watch keeps consistent time. The balance is huge, and you can see the eccentric masses that are used to make all of the adjustments. An extraordinary timekeeper. It's free-sprung with a huge balance, the Phillips overcoil, a enormous tourbillon structure, almost the size of what you'd find on a clock, and then it's all driven by the barrel, fusee, and chain arrangement, which ensures that for 53 hours, constant force reaches the escapement. So the way this works is, as you wind it, the chain moves from the barrel to the fusee. There's a differential to prevent interruption of torque to the escapement when you are actively winding the watch. That's what this differential is for. Now you can also see we got the barrel right here, and it has a Maltese cross stopworks that has 2 purposes. The first, to stop the watch when it no longer has the energy to keep accurate time. It's believed, and it has long been believed, that a stopped watch is easier to spot than a watch that is slowly losing time. So rather than run late and miss an important engagement or a train or a flight, you will know your watch is stopped, and then you will rewind it and correct the time. Now, it is also here to prevent you from overwinding the watch and stressing that tiny chain. The fusee and chain system works like bicycle gears. As the mainspring loses its force, the fusee, it's a hyperboloid, so it's like a sort of a cone. I would say it's like a cone that's curved, and it has these little tracks, and the chain migrates up those tracks. So when the mainspring has the least force, it's pulling the largest diameter of the fusee to gain mechanical advantage back, and then the fusee is geared directly to the escapement and then the hands. So for 53 hours, constant force. 60 joules, you can see this movement is beautifully decorated. We have bevels, interior angles, satination, media blast, mirror polished steel, German silver, brass. We have beveling that concludes in inward angles. We have beveling that continues to outward points. You could see some of the little details here, like the different depths and planes of finish. Look at this mirror-polished bridge for the tourbillon. You see how the edge has been faceted to have 2 corners, not just one, and that on both sides, also with a corresponding structure to the adjacent bridge. This is the kind of finishing you get on the best in the world. Look at this tourbillon and look at the details. Substructures are finished as well as superstructures, something rarely committed. The movement is huge and properly suited to this case. At 37.3 millimeters, it fully fills out this case back, as Ferdinand Berthoud, as part of Chopin, is a complete manufacturer. Water resistant to 30 meters, which is dress watch standard. Don't worry about that. You're never going to submerge it. It is beautiful in every way. Intellectual beauty, aesthetic beauty, engineering beauty, artisanal beauty. It exhausts the superlatives, from its solid gold dial to its intricate complications to its absolute rarity as one of only a handful in existence. This watch is the best. Are there others that are its equal, co-equal best? Yes, but I can tell you this. When I first encountered the movement you see here in the octagonal FB1 case at the SCHH, it was the first time I ever thought, you know what, from a bank account standpoint, it might be worth emptying the tank to own that thing. And when I see this watch, I still sort of get that feeling. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.